Hello and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be sharing you my experience building this deep slatted planter box by DIY Montreal. The plans are affordable and were extremely helpful during this build. I'm starting off by cutting the vertical support beams. For each planter I'm making 3, I'm cutting 10 beams per planter. Here I'm cutting them at about 1.5 inches thick, leaving space because later on I plane them down. So here I cut all the vertical beams ahead of time, and they're all about 38 inches long and 1 3/8 inches thick. These planters are going to be indoors, so I'm going to use soft maple. Here I'm starting with the long slats. I'm cutting these to 2.5 inches wide. When I was running my boards through the table saw, the boards that I didn't push all the way through past the blade would get burned. So here's a tip. Please push your material all the way through past the blade to help prevent burns. This was the first project that I got to use my new planer. The local hardware store only had this adapter, but hey, it worked. Here I'm planing down my material to 5/8 of an inch thick. My 4-gallon dust collector couldn't hang. Now that I have all my material milled, it's time to cut everything to length. Here I am setting up a stop block to start cutting my side slats. I'm not following the plans to the T. I made some modifications for what I needed. I didn't have a straight edge long enough, so I had to come up with a solution to cut my long slats to length. But hey, it got me through this part. Now that you're ready to assemble, start by attaching a straight edge to your work table. This will help keep all your slats straight and aligned. Now you need to arrange your slats in the order that you would like them. Clamp down your top slat to keep it in place. This top slat will serve as a reference for all the following slats to also keep those into place. These are 1/2 inch spacers used to create equal distance between all of your slats. Use a second straight edge to lock everything into place and make sure everything sits tight. Before attaching your vertical support beams, mark where you're going to add your side countersink holes. These holes later are going to join your vertical beams together. When putting together the side slat panel, use a vertical beam as your spacer. Me realizing I made a mistake. So your countersink holes should be on their side and should align in between the slats. I recommend removing your spacer temporarily just to check that everything is still in place. It was frustrating when I had finished screwing everything together and looking at my panel and finding out that it was crooked. To save yourself a possible headache, just double check. And here it is. When assembling your long slat panel, you're going to go through the same process, except this time you're going to use one of your slats as a spacer between your vertical beam. Make sure that your middle vertical beam is equal distance apart from your other two. It's very important that you get your slats flush against the beam. It'll be very apparent if they are not when you're assembling the box together. Now you can see that the side countersink holes you made earlier are used to join your panels together. You can also see why your countersink holes had to be in between your slats. I'm going to be adding shelving about midway to add potted plants. If you want your shelf to be in an exact spot, make sure to account for the thickness of the board that you're using for the shelf and add it to your measurement. I recommend using a stop block when attaching your shelving supports for easy installation. Here I am drilling all the countersink holes for my shelving supports.
Bro, these batteries are trash.
Here I'm measuring how thick I need to make the top frame. I made a template for my top frame as a guide for when I'm cutting my material. Here I'm cutting my material to the desired width for the frame. Make sure to join your vertical beams together at the bottom of the planter. I love this right angle bit. With assembly all done, all that's left now is sanding and finishing. Sanding down 3 of these 5-foot long planters took me all day. I was losing my mind. Let me tell you, I had a lot of time to think and start questioning my life's choices while I'm here cleaning up this wood. Why am I doing this? What should I be doing? But just remember to trust the process. It'll be worth it. I decided to still use a finish that would waterproof the planters, even though they're going to be indoors, because it's still going to hold plants and be in contact with water. After one full day of sanding and finishing, here it is, the beautiful finished product. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel for more woodworking and creative projects.